gotta hustle up because I'm losing my daylight quick. I got this nice 60-degree day in February, and I had one sub ask how I did my cooking shelf on the Jeep, on the rear door of my Jeep. So I'm going to show you how I did it. Okay, so first of all, what I did was, you got to take the inside cover off. It pops out on the bottom and up on the top. So if you grab it down below here, you can kind of just grab it and just kind of pop out those little clips on the inside there. Then from there, you can just kind of come up with it, lift it up. At that point, it's a little easier said than done, and you're going to break some clips. And I've got a few extra clips, but I'd rather not break any if I don't need to. So what you see is, you see this clip right here, goes right in like that. Okay, so you can see here, I broke one of these clips before. So we've got clip, 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 clip. So these are all, we're all good. We're just missing one. So, you know, that's not bad. So this is the inside cover that came off. Okay. So then what you do here, forgive the Jeep. It's an absolute mess when I'm not camping. So you take this off. There's this little cover. I don't know what it's for necessarily. Keep all the electronics dirt free or something. I don't know. Anyway, so what I initially planned to do was to locate on the inside where the steel support was, and then just screw directly through the inside panel into the steel structure. But you can see the steel structure is concave. So what I quickly learned was that the screws weren't long enough, and then it sucked. Even if they were, it sucked the plastic in, and it just wasn't right. It was just bad. Make sure you're still recording there, sorry. So what I did was I came up with this idea. I mounted a couple pieces of scrap 3/4 inch cabinet grade plywood, which is just what I had handy, use 1x or whatever, and I just screwed it directly into the metal with some self-tapping screws. Okay, tucked the wiring in out of the way so it wouldn't get hurt, and that's all there was to it. But while I was in here, I did something. So as you guys know, I've got this little mount back here for my propane tank. So what I did was I screwed 4 holes in through the outside, and then on the inside up in here I put bolts, and then I just bolted that straight too. And I'll add a link to that propane tank holder that I've got. And then I had to kind of manufacture just from the hardware store some supports for it, but I'll show you that here in a little bit. Okay, so we got our wood on here like this. Okay, and then we just put our inner cover back up. No big deal. Okay, just do all that. Just kind of tuck this in there or something. Just kind of keep it in out of the way. Try and keep it up while we're putting our cover back on. So we've got our wood mounted. You see this right here? This is one of those clips that came off. It stayed stuck in the Jeep. Let's see if we can get it off here. Which there ain't no guarantee here. Yeah, screw it. They make a little tool for that. I have one somewhere, but who knows where. I don't know. I don't know where half my stuff is. Anyway, so we've got that now. So that 1x, those 1x wood pieces serve 2 purposes. One, they take up a little bit of that concave gap so that it doesn't smash or suck the plastic inner panel into the metal, and also it gives you something to screw into. Okay, so we're good to go. So that's good stuff. So then all we got to do is we just take our inner door panel, we put it back on. This time it's reversed. Put the top on, then snap in the bottoms. So all these little top pieces are going to go right in. Here, let me show you here. See those little slots? Okay, that's where these are going to go, and then those little holes there are where those are going to go. Okay, so all we got to do is just do the reverse of what we did before. So we're going to take our panel and we're going to snap the top back in. best we can here. It's kind of a trick. They don't ever make anything easy, I'll tell you that right now. They just don't. It's not easy. Okay, so now top's all in, so now we can come in along the bottom. Make sure we're kind of, whoops, that ain't gonna work, is it? That one needs to go in there. See, I hope you guys can see this. I'm doing it upside down. So you see our little thing there? It's gonna go right in that little hole. Now that I've completely made you upside down and sick and everything, so we just line those up with our holes, pop them in, just like that. Once you get one, the top lined up and one of the plugs lined in, they'll all just go in. So we just kind of snap it up in and around, and we're done. That's all there is to that part. Okay, so you know, before I do that, I'm going to show you here. I'm going to show you here this. So this is my propane mount right here. This is for a propane tank, like at a shop or something, to mount it to the wall. I had to cut a little bit of this corner off so it didn't hit the taillight, and then I put this little bit of rubber here so that it wouldn't bang the taillight or something like that. These are just little like 10, these little 10 brackets I got from the hardware store. I wrapped them in pipe insulation and duct tape. They bolted them on. Then you can see down in there, I put in I bolted through the sheathing of the car. And this is important, guys, Jeeps rust like crazy. I went ahead and I siliconed each one of these holes so they wouldn't rust out. That's important. Got a propane tank mounted, wood mounted, inside. Let's talk about the shelf. This shelf is 3/4 inch cabinet grade plywood. 3/4 inch cabinet grade plywood is my favorite thing in the world. I use it for absolutely everything. It's expensive, but when you build with it, you don't need, it is its own support structure because it's so thick and heavy. It's just great. So what I did was I cut 2 pieces this size. Now what I mean by this size is I went to the hardware store and I bought these pieces of metal, this galvanized metal, tin sheet or galvanized sheet. And then I cut my 2 pieces to match this size, okay? So the very first thing you do is you put in this is a piano hinge right here. This is a piano hinge, and that hinges the 2 pieces of metal together. Then I put the metal sheathing on top, and then I happen to have a little piece of aluminum angle iron. Put that on there just to kind of protect the sharp edges. I didn't have enough to go all the way, so this one only goes part way, so whatever. And then all I did here was eye bolts with some paracord. I'm eventually going to replace the paracord with a chain, just because the chain is going to be more sturdy. It's going to be more reliable. Make sure you guys are still recording. See me staring in there. Okay, so now we got this. So now what I did was I went ahead and I figured out where my holes were, and I marked them. Okay, corresponding holes. Pow. So I just used, I think these are 2.5 inch decking screws, Torx, only Torx. Don't use anything else. Anything, if you're not using Torx, you're doing it wrong. Okay, so then we just take that, screw that on. Don't tighten it up. Don't tighten it up all the way. I've also got a little, sorry, I'm out in the street, so there's a lot of traffic. I've also got a little washer on there just to make sure it doesn't go through the hole. Okay, so we're going to line up the next hole. Put that in there. Okay. Now, I'm just going to keep going on around. And I put 4 in, and 4 seems plenty adequate. I think 4 is definitely acceptable. You want to be real careful when you're working on the inside there that you don't get your wiring anywhere where you're going to get it near a screw or a drill bit or anything like that, because you don't want to ruin your wiring. That's a bad thing. Sorry, I keep checking to see if you guys still recording. Okay, so we're going to set our chuck so that we don't over tighten. Go ahead and tighten these down. little bit tighter. Okay. Okay. So now this is secure. Okay, we've got our shelf here. And then I just put a bungee cord on here is all I did. Bungee cord from that eye bolt to that eye bolt, it holds it up. And that's really all there is to it. It's really not any more complicated than that. I've got my little things here. My sister-in-law got me this, which I just love. Go where no politicians are. Sound advice, my friends. Sound advice. Okay, I got my bottle opener. Okay, so just close it up. Now, what I did have to take into account, and this was actually built after I built all the platforms. So what I had to do is when I built the platforms, I made sure that I built them about 1.5 inches, 2 inches short, so that I had room for this, for the double thickness of this. 1.5 inches, I allowed 2 inches. We're golden. We're in like Flynn, baby. All right, and the last thing you do, make sure your lock still works. And I just heard it in there, so we're good. We didn't penetrate any wiring or anything. So that's it. That's all there is to it. It's just that simple to put a cooking shelf and an exterior propane tank mount on your Jeep Liberty. I don't think it would really be any different with any other Jeep, or quite frankly, any other SUV. I think it's going to be pretty much all the same. I know I probably cut my head off this whole video, but I wanted you guys to see this part. And that's all there is to it. This is a little access port to get in for like the door latch and stuff. Make sure you don't lose that. Go real easy when you're taking this off. Go real gentle with it, or you'll bust all the dang clips. All right, so I have to apologize a little bit to one of my new subs, James Slater. He had asked if I could give some more info on how I did this, and I kind of put him off for 4 or 5 days. Problem was, in Kansas in February it gets pretty cold, and I knew that if I tried to do this when it was cold, I'd snap and break every one of those little clips. So I didn't want to do that, so I waited till it was nice. I just happened to have this beautiful 60-degree day, one day before Valentine's Day. Beautiful February in Kansas, 60 degrees. It was perfect. Got out, pow, we knocked it out. So that's how you do that right there. That's how you mount your mount a cooking shelf on the back. Do that on your Jeep, good to go. All right, fellow babies, I love you. You know I love you to pieces. What I always tell you, remember it, practice it, live it. Love on them hard, babies. There's no guarantee in this life. You never know what's coming around the corner. You never know what's going to happen. Somebody in your life that you love, you let them know. All right, you spend time with them. You just love on them just as hard as you can, because you never know what tomorrow brings. All right, I love each and every one of you to pieces. Happy Valentine's Day.